Welcome to the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction Postgame Show. I'm Jonathan Santiago. With me here, James Ham. And Sacramento Kings losing a heartbreaker to the San Antonio Spurs tonight, 95-93. And let's just start with that last shot that Rudy Gay took. I thought it was a well-executed play. They got Rudy to shoot the ball where he likes to shoot on the floor. And he just missed a shot. That's realistically it. He was able to rise up over Boris Diaw, but he just missed a shot. I don't think that it was, I think I've seen him make shots, game-winning shots like that at the buzzer before. Just in this instance, he missed a shot.
Yeah, John, that's the long and the short of it. I think of the movie Forrest Gump when he's in the middle of that giant run that he's doing, and mud puddle splashes up in his face, and some guy hands him a yellow T-shirt to wipe the mud off, and he says, and then he steps in dog do. It happens. SHIT. Sometimes it happens. It is. I mean, when you're a bad team and you have an opportunity to put away a good team and you don't do it, then chances are you're going to lose in the end on something silly. I mean, Tim Duncan missed back-to-back free throws, set the Kings up. They were down by one. All they had to do was hit a shot and they win, and they can't do it. And it's the way it happens sometimes, John.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we got on here. You look at the statistics in the fourth quarter. The Kings allowed the Spurs to shoot 62.5% from the field, 10 of 16. And the Kings were limited to just 4 of 16 from the field on 25%. And if you just look at the numbers, you would think that they played horribly in that fourth quarter. But I honestly thought that the Kings' defense was better than the numbers suggested. There were a couple possessions where realistically great offense just beat great defense tonight, in my opinion. I mean, there were situations where the rotations were on point for the Kings. They were closing out on shooters, but the Spurs, a team that's veteran that has as much experience as they have, was able to find a guy like Tim Duncan to make a shot when it was needed. And realistically, that to me was the story. It's just they played solid defense, but I don't think that the stats necessarily reflect that in the fourth period.
Yeah, John, and the fact is that while the Spurs have all of this veteran leadership and they've done it time and time again, the Kings are the exact opposite. I mean, we saw that play in crunch time where Isaiah Thomas just literally dribbled out the clock. I mean, dribbled out the clock and then shot up a 30-footer over the top of Tim Duncan that came up like 8 feet short. And it's like, you're the point guard of a team. You're the guy. And it doesn't matter how many points you score, 26 points, 5 assists. At the end, your turnover in the waning moments, it costs you. And that's one of those things where the Kings just have to learn. They can't be loosey-goose with the ball. They can't just, they have to move it. The ball has to move from side to side. People have to be involved. And tonight, I mean, it's just a classic example of Kings basketball. I mean, they've lost 7 in a row. They were beat by a better team that knew how to win in crunch time. They don't know how to win in crunch time, and unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, we look at the third quarter statistics. Again, the Kings with another good third quarter like they had last night. They outscored the Spurs 25-19 in the third, shot 45% from the field, limited the Spurs to 30% shooting in the third period. And in the fourth quarter, they did crumble a bit. I did think that like I said, I thought they played pretty good defense, but again, it does come down to
execution.
Execution, as you said.
Execution.
All right, so, and you can't execute well when you don't have a lot of experience in these type of situations, which the Kings clearly do not have. So let's move on to our 3 points, 3 things to watch. Who ends their losing streak? Clearly not the Kings.
Nope.
They lost tonight. The Spurs ending a 3-game losing streak there.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, the Spurs picked Shannon Brown up off the street and started him tonight.
Yeah, he was
I mean,
signed to a 10-day contract earlier today, and then
yeah, like 5 minutes ago, and like, hey, do you think you can play tonight? I mean, again, we've talked about this a couple of times. That's exactly what I would like to see the Kings do. I mean, if you got guys who don't want to come out and play, then just sign some guy off the street and bring him in and have him do something different. I mean, anything is better than the same thing every single night.
well, although it is a little bit easier when you're the San Antonio Spurs and you're contending for a championship. You can attract free agents a little bit better that way. If
Hey,
you
a guy that's a free agent on February 1st is begging for a job, John. Shannon Brown would have signed with the Sacramento Kings in a heartbeat 2 weeks ago.
well, he didn't sign with the Kings. He signed with the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to point number 2. Can Isaiah Thomas find his range? What did he shoot tonight? He finished. Let's look at the 2 of 9 from 3-point land. He was not very efficient tonight. 26 points on 26 shots.
Tired legs, John. You know, I tweeted this out during the game. Jerry Sloan used to have a way of manipulating the amount of rest John Stockton would get. While John Stockton would sit for like a minute and a half at the end of the fourth quarter, and then maybe 2 minutes to start the at the end of the third quarter, and then 2 minutes to start the fourth quarter, he would actually end up getting like 15 minutes worth of rest. They would slow the game down during those times. They would call timeouts. They would foul. Whatever it was, Jerry Sloan had a way of elongating the rest that John Stockton would actually get, and that's something that Malone needs to figure out. He needs to figure out how to get Isaiah Thomas not just 3 minutes of playing time, but a way to make that 3 minutes mean more like 15. And he hasn't done it, and Isaiah Thomas literally looks exhausted. I mean, he's got no lift left in his legs. And the worst part is that, he still thinks that he's running and gunning and has plenty of lift in his legs, and he shoots 11 of 26 again tonight. And the Kings probably could have used more. He scores 26 points, has 5 assists. That assist number is something you got to circle and say, dude, you have to get someone else involved. You're exhausted. Ben McLemore, finishes with 4 points. Marcus Sorton finishes with 8 points on 3 of 11 shooting. I mean, you had to find someone else. Even Derek Williams, in almost 25 minutes, shot 5 total shots. You got to find a way to get these guys some shots, and that's all I'm saying with Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, and you look at Derek Williams, he finished with 14 points of the night. And on the topic of Isaiah Thomas and the point guards, Ray McCallum getting some extended burn tonight with Jimmer Fredette out with the stomach flu. And he finished with 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting. I actually thought Ray looked pretty good. I mean, we've heard some things about, the level of readiness that Ray McCallum, or the lack thereof of readiness that he has at this point in his career. At the NBA level, but he looked pretty good tonight. One of the biggest issues that I have with Ray is that he dribbles too much, and I think you would agree with that.
Yes.
But defensively, he probably is. He might be the best point guard defender that they have at that position.
Maybe. I mean, if he's the best point guard defender, I got to be honest, he's the best guard defender they have. That's just the way this team is. I mean, I don't consider Jimmer or Marcus Sorton shutdown defenders, or Ben McLemore for that matter. Ben McLemore just sags and falls asleep. I mean, if he's the best defender they have at the point guard, they probably need to get him a lot more minutes, no matter where it's at. But he's green, and the only reason he played 10 minutes tonight is because what you said, Jimmer was out, and I think those minutes go right back to Jimmer when he is healthy, unless. Lo and behold, Jimmer gets sick, misses 2 games. Ray McCallum shows that he's able to play point guard, and that means that the Kings can use Jimmer Fredette as a 2 guard, and we don't have to see 3 of 11 shooting every night, and we can move forward. Maybe that would happen.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We don't know.
Chain reaction.
All right, number 3, can the Spurs slow Rudy Gay down in the fourth quarter? They did. I mean, he only took. Looking here at the final stats here in the fourth period, he took 5 shots, did not make any of them. Of course, missing the game winner potential game winner there in the end and scored 1 point, but he did finish with 23 points on 9 of 18 shooting. Career high or tied a career high 5 steals, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. For much of the night, he was very, very solid for the Sacramento Kings, as he has been, throughout his tenure here in Sacramento for the last month and a half. Again, just at that last shot, he just missed it. And I think in that situation, you want him taking that last shot, and he took a good shot and just missed it.
Yeah, John, if anyone else took that shot, I would have been pissed. I mean, honestly, that's the guy who had to take the shot right there. He just missed it, and you have to be okay with that. I mean, he's going to hit a good percentage of those shots, especially. I mean, he's shown as a King that he can hit them all the time. I saw someone say something on Twitter like, "Oh, this is a Toronto Rudy Gay that we're seeing right now," and I just thought that was a joke. I mean, this guy is so incredibly fluid. He still shoots 50% from the field, even though he had a rough finish. I mean, he's so efficient as a member of the Kings. I don't see any way to find, and not only that, but John, 23 points, 5 steals, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. He fills up the stat sheet, not a single turnover. I mean, that's a performance, and it's something that I think Kings fans would like to see for the next 5 years. That's just me. I want to cover Rudy Gay for the next 5 years, so I can watch an elite player at the wing position play for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, like I said, that shot, it was what a 10 to 12 foot jump shot. If he were taking one of those long range twos, I mean, kind of just right inside the 3-point line, that wouldn't have been a good attempt. But they got him that ball right where he can make a play and where he's proven to make plays for the Kings, and you can't really argue that. Again, guy just misses a shot, and it happens when it comes. It's 50-50 in that situation. You either make or you miss, and he missed in that situation. So
yes,
you can't blame a guy with the talent and the skills that Rudy Gay has for taking that shot. All right, let's pick player of the game. I'm gonna go with Tim Duncan, winning team, 23 points on 13 shots. He did miss those 2 critical free throws that allowed the Kings to stay in the game with 12 seconds to go. But 17 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, again, we saw, last night Dirk Nowitzki put up 30-plus points. We see another future Hall of Famer here, and Tim Duncan put up an incredible double-double. And, regardless of those 2 missed free throws, he still had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, John, I would have liked to have seen the pure matchups in this game with Jason Thompson on him, because I can remember specifically of those 23 points, at least 6 that came against other players. I do know that, like Carl Landry, he shot right over Carl Landry twice and just nothing but glass. And then, again, we saw it against Derek Williams. I kind of wish that they would have allowed Jason Thompson. Every time Tim Duncan checked into the game, we saw Jason Thompson. It didn't happen. I thought Jason Thompson played well on him. Anyway, Tim Duncan is my player of the game as well. Father Time just doesn't catch up to this guy, especially when he's playing the Kings. He's not an all-star for the first time in a long time, but 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. And he's been doing that like a workman for years and years and years. Just a joy to watch.
Yeah, and they needed Tim Duncan to do that tonight, especially considering all the injuries they have with Manu Ginobili and Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green all out due to injury, and them starting a guy they just signed off the street, as we mentioned, in Shannon Brown today. So big night for Tim Duncan to do what he did against the Sacramento Kings and end their 3-game losing streak, the San Antonio Spurs. So on that note, let's wrap up this edition of the Road Reaction post-game show. Again, the Spurs defeating the Sacramento Kings 95-93, and the Kings are back in action on Monday to take on the Chicago Bulls at Sleep Train Arena. So we will be back then with the regular Cowbell Kingdom press box report, and we'll see you then. So for James Am, I'm Jonathan Santiago. Thanks for tuning in to the Road Reaction post-game show.